Picture this. Browns training camp is just days away, and yet one of the team's most talked about rookies, quarterback Shedeur Sanders, is already at the center of swirling trade rumors. Reports surfaced today suggesting that Sanders, drafted in the 5th round just a few months ago, could soon be traded to the Los Angeles Rams, where he would back up veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford. The speculation has triggered debate among fans, analysts, and even former players. How did this situation escalate so quickly? And what does it say about the Browns' quarterback room heading into 2025? The rumor is not coming out of nowhere. Since his surprising draft slide, Sanders' trajectory in Cleveland has been uncertain at best. Once projected as a top 5 pick, Sanders fell all the way to the 5th round, raising questions about how NFL front offices viewed his game and potential to develop. When the Browns selected him at pick 144, some fans saw it as a steal, a quarterback with pedigree and upside. But the realities inside the Browns' quarterback room have made his path far more complicated. Deshaun Watson remains entrenched as QB1, despite his injury concerns and inconsistent play. Joe Flacco was re-signed after his late-season heroism last year, providing veteran insurance. Dillon Gabriel, the 3rd-round pick this spring, has impressed coaches early with his quick grasp of the offense and natural leadership. Even Kenny Pickett, acquired in a low-cost trade from Pittsburgh, is ahead of Sanders on the depth chart as of today. So where does that leave Sanders? According to reports, including speculation from TalkSport and comments from analyst Emmanuel Acho, Sanders may be viewed inside the Browns organization as a developmental player unlikely to get significant reps during camp. That reality opens the door to a potential move, and the Rams are an intriguing landing spot. Matthew Stafford is nearing the end of his career, and the Rams have no clear succession plan in place. Sanders could walk into that situation as a developmental project, learn behind Stafford, and potentially become a future option for Los Angeles. The rumor gained further traction after Sanders himself added intrigue with a cryptic social media post that simply read, "Time will tell." While that phrase can be interpreted in many ways, the timing and tone suggest that Sanders is aware of the speculation around his future and is keeping his options open. From Cleveland's perspective, the idea of moving Sanders now could make sense. The Browns are facing a crowded quarterback room and must prioritize reps and development time for players with a clearer path to contributing. If they can recoup draft capital or fill another roster need by sending Sanders to a team like the Rams, it would represent a pragmatic, if disappointing, end to an experiment that never really got off the ground. For Sanders, a trade could be the opportunity he needs. The quarterback room in Cleveland is crowded and competitive, and being buried 4th or 5th on the depth chart behind Watson, Flacco, Gabriel, and Pickett does not offer a real path to playing time. In Los Angeles, where Stafford's time as a starter may be winding down, Sanders could find a more patient development environment and a clearer path to a future role. This entire situation raises questions not just about Sanders' readiness, but about how the Browns have managed their quarterback position overall. Drafting a quarterback in the 5th round just to move on from him before training camp even begins would reflect a front office searching for answers rather than executing a clear, coherent plan. It would also highlight the unforgiving nature of NFL roster construction, where every spot matters and there's little patience for projects that might take multiple seasons to develop. As the speculation intensifies, Browns fans are left wondering whether the organization ever truly believed in Sanders as a potential contributor or whether he was always viewed as a flyer, a late-round gamble that would need to immediately impress to survive. The coming days may provide clarity, but for now, the story of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland may already be entering its final chapter.
The idea that Shedeur Sanders could be traded before even taking a preseason snap seems abrupt, but when we break it down from a football and roster management perspective, there are reasons this rumor is gaining traction. The Browns' quarterback room is not only crowded, but each player competing for spots brings something different to the table. And that context explains why Sanders might not have a clear path to stick in Cleveland. First, let's assess Sanders from a technical standpoint. At Colorado, Sanders was a productive and high-profile quarterback. His mechanics, poise in the pocket, and accuracy on short and intermediate throws were praised by scouts. However, concerns about his processing speed against NFL-level defenses, his tendency to hold the ball too long, and questions about arm strength on deep outs caused his draft stock to fall. In college, he often played behind a shaky offensive line and made plays with his creativity, but that style does not always translate smoothly to the NFL, where windows are tighter and defensive speed is greater. Reports from early offseason workouts in Cleveland have indicated that Sanders is behind the other quarterbacks in terms of system knowledge and timing. Dillon Gabriel, by contrast, has reportedly impressed coaches with his fast learning curve and quick release. Joe Flacco is the veteran who can manage games and mentor younger players. Kenny Pickett, while struggling during his time in Pittsburgh, at least has starting experience. And Deshaun Watson, despite his inconsistency, remains the unquestioned starter given the franchise's massive investment in him. In a situation where practice reps are scarce, there is only so much developmental work that can be done with a fourth or fifth string quarterback. Sanders' profile suggests that he may need time to adjust and grow, and the Browns' current roster and situation may not offer the patience or space for that kind of long-term project. On the other hand, the Los Angeles Rams offer a different scenario. Matthew Stafford remains entrenched as the starter, but he is nearing the end of his career and durability is a question. The Rams lack a clear developmental prospect at quarterback. For them, bringing in Sanders as a backup or practice squad player would make sense, giving them a player with upside who could learn at a less pressured pace. This potential move has stirred a wide range of reactions among Browns fans. On social media platforms like Twitter and fan forums, opinions are mixed but passionate. Some fans are already expressing frustration that the Browns might give up on Sanders so quickly, viewing it as another example of questionable roster management from a front office that has taken plenty of heat recently for its quarterback decisions. For these fans, Sanders represented potential and pedigree. After all, he is the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders and carried a significant college profile. Other fans, however, are more pragmatic. They point to Sanders' late-round draft status and acknowledge that the odds of him developing into a long-term answer were always slim. In a crowded quarterback room with limited reps available, they argue it might be smarter for the Browns to focus resources on players who have a more immediate or realistic path to contributing this season. Some Browns fans also note that a trade to the Rams could actually benefit Sanders personally. In Los Angeles, he would have a clearer path to a backup role and would not face the same crowded depth chart he does in Cleveland. The Rams might be willing to give him time to develop behind Stafford in a less pressure-filled environment. For Sanders, it could be the fresh start he needs to rebuild his stock after slipping in the draft and struggling early in Cleveland. At the same time, this situation highlights larger questions about the Browns' approach to roster construction and quarterback development. If Sanders is moved now, it would raise eyebrows about why the team selected him in the first place, only to pivot before camp even begins. That kind of quick turnaround reflects either an opportunistic mindset or a lack of clear vision from the front office, and fans are paying close attention to these decisions as the season approaches. In short, while a potential trade of Shedeur Sanders might make practical sense from a roster management perspective, it also underscores the challenges facing the Browns team that has yet to establish real stability or clarity at quarterback. The coming days will reveal whether this rumor becomes reality, but the debate among Browns fans is already intense and revealing deeper concerns about leadership and direction.
At Dawg Pound Daily, we believe the Shedeur Sanders trade rumor is about far more than just one rookie quarterback. It is a window into how the Browns front office is thinking and how much pressure they are already feeling before a single training camp practice begins. The idea that Sanders could be moved this quickly says a lot about the team's approach to its quarterback room and raises questions about whether Cleveland has a coherent plan for its most important position. From our perspective, this is a situation where both reality and perception matter. In reality, Sanders entered camp as a fifth-round pick with upside but clear developmental needs. He was never guaranteed a roster spot, and it was always going to be difficult for him to climb the depth chart in a room that already included Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel. Limited reps, steep learning curves, and the urgency for the Browns to compete now mean that patience with a developmental quarterback might not be realistic this year. But perception is important too. Sanders arrived in Cleveland with name recognition, pedigree, and intrigue.
Many fans saw him as a potential future starter, or at least an exciting project worth investing in. If the Browns were to trade him before camp even begins, it could feel to those fans like a front office that is unsure of itself, a leadership group that is reacting instead of planning, pivoting quickly when things do not go exactly as hoped. That perception ties into larger frustrations that fans already have with the Browns' quarterback decisions. The aggressive move to acquire Deshaun Watson has yet to pay off. The quarterback depth chart feels crowded, but uncertain, filled with aging veterans and unproven younger players. A quick trade of Sanders would add to the sense that the organization is still searching for answers at the most important position on the field. At the same time, there are practical reasons this move could make sense. Sanders' path to a roster spot in Cleveland is steep. A trade to the Rams could offer him a better opportunity to develop at his own pace behind a veteran like Matthew Stafford. From a roster management standpoint, if the Browns can acquire a late-round pick or a player at a position of need in return, it could be the kind of move that helps balance the roster ahead of a crucial season. For Browns fans, this situation is a reminder of how quickly things can change in the NFL, and how much every decision at quarterback is magnified. Whether or not Sanders is ultimately traded, this rumor exposes the reality that the Browns still have no long-term plan that inspires full confidence at quarterback. The room is deep on names, but thin on clarity. That is why we at Dawg Pound Daily are watching this story closely, and we think all Browns fans should be too. This isn't just about one rookie quarterback. It is about the organization's ability to evaluate talent, plan for the future, and manage the present. If Sanders is traded, it will be another chapter in a long-running story about quarterback uncertainty in Cleveland. So here's our call to action. What do you think the Browns should do? Should Shedeur Sanders be kept as a developmental prospect, or is a trade to the Rams or another team the right move for both sides? What does this situation say about the front office's overall strategy at quarterback? Are you confident in the plan, or are you as frustrated as many other fans right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every comment, and we want your take on this fast-developing story. And if you appreciated this breakdown, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming training camp coverage, depth chart analysis, and real-time reactions as this Browns season begins to take shape. This is Dawg Pound Daily, where Browns fans stay informed, stay passionate, and stay connected.